Hello, everybody, the ones who are going to join in now, especially those who are in the streets already or Facebook, you're going to find me here. Karibuni sana. I know you've been given an alert that the Audacity Mentor is on. How are you, everybody? I made a promise on Monday that I would come in and just tell you a little bit about the Audacity Mentor and the work that I do. And I'm so grateful that the Lord has kept us all safe. He's provided for all the connectivity that I require for me to show up here. And so I'm excited. So if you see me looking down, it's because I'm just making sure I'm live and also making sure that I see your comments, because through Zoom, I may not be able to see those. So please join in and say hi as you join in. I would really love your company. I would love your encouragement through the loves and likes. I would really love that. So I promise that my topic for today is called Talking Audacity. And let me tell you where this came about, because I have a mailing list and you are welcome to join that. I think when we are done with this live, I can put a link so that anybody who desires to join my email list can do that. So I usually send an email every week as much as I can, just to encourage people. And these are not people who necessarily are paying clients, just people who love reading and being encouraged on a weekly basis. And so this lady in my email list asked me, what is the Audacity and what work do you do exactly? So she's been there for long and I've been encouraging them and talking about my work, but she still felt that she's not able to connect with the work that I do. So that's the genesis of me thinking, it means she's not alone. It means there's somebody also out there who knows I work with women, but doesn't know exactly what it is I do and what is this with this Audacity name. And so that's what I'm doing today. I just want to introduce you to myself, to my work, and for you to find where it is that you can plug in any of the things that I'm offering. So thank you so much. So please, again, say hi as you're coming in. I know on my end, it says that I am live, but I would really love for you to come in. Yeah, I've seen I'm live, and that's awesome. Yeah, so please say hello, give me some loves as you're joining. It's nice not to always be alone. So what I want to do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and what I'll be doing for the duration that we are together, as I tell you about myself, I tell you about my work, and I tell you about the various ways in which I've provided solutions for mothers, so that you identify in your growth, personal growth journey, this is where you're at, and this is where you can begin with me. Yeah, so I'll be sharing screen, and sometimes I stop sharing screen just to talk to you a little bit, because today is just you getting to know me a little bit more intimately, so that you understand every time I put a post, what's the basis of that post. It's on the model and for the results that I want for mothers. And so it's not just random, it has a place. And so thank you so much. As you're coming in again, please say hello. I really would love your company. So let me start by sharing my screen. Let me do that right now. Yeah, so talking Audacity. So first, let me even start with the basics. You know, where does the name Audacity come from? So the word odd, if you check in the dictionary, it means different, it means weird. For me, the way I pick the word odd, it's just your difference. What difference are you bringing to the world? You know, what's your uniqueness? And then the audacity itself as a word is a tweak from the real word AUDACITY, audacity, which really means being bold and courageous. And so what I do is then my brand is all about helping moms be bold, be courageous, and own their different, own their odd, own their weird, so that you show up that way. You show up boldly and courageously in who you are and what you are called to do. So that's where the name Audacity comes from. So every time you hear me, if you read my posts, if you see anything I'm telling you to join, it will always have that basis. It's all about helping you to be bold, helping you to be courageous, and helping you to own what's different, what's unique, and what's awesome about you. All right. If my slide will work. Yeah. So my name Again, if you've been in my page often, you know my name, but again, I'm just doing this for the sake of those who are new to me. I don't want to assume anything, and that's how I teach as well. I love a basics to mastery approach. Let's get the basics of, even as we are going to that which is a bit more concrete. So my name is Werimo, the Audacity Mentor, and like I've told you, the word Audacity is just for me being a mentor, to help mothers just step out boldly, step out courageously, because they have owned their unique, owned their odd, owned their different, owned their weird, and that's how they are showing up in the world. Like, you're showing up authentically as you. You don't need to copy somebody else just because they are being unique stands out for them. You think that if you copy them, no, every time you try and copy somebody else, you're not going to look like them. You're going to look like there's something not happening quite well. Again, if you come in, just say hello. And why mentor? You know, coaches are, and I still coach. I still say I'm a mom mentor and a mom coach. The reason I love mentoring is because it's a more it's a more personalized relationship in our industry, because coaching is very task-based. So you say, this is the task that I would like us to talk about, and the journey is all about making sure that we achieve the task at hand. But mentoring, I can give personal examples, and I can tell you, this is what I did when I went through that. So I can be personal, and that's why between coaching and mentoring, I love being called a mentor, although I use coaching principles, and I actually do coach when we are in class. So, but I love being called a mentor. I think that's what I've always been. That's what I've always done. So I am a wife and I am a mom. I have 3 children. And like I said, on Monday, we have a teenager. She's turning 14 in the coming month, in a few days, actually. Then we have a 10-year-old, and we have an 8-year-old. So that's how our home is like. In February next year, we'll be married 17 years. So yeah, so we are almost getting to 25. Those who are good at maths. So I'm a Christian-based mom mindset and life mentor. I really love, like I said, mentoring mothers. And what I realized in my own personal journey is that when I worked on my thought process, when I worked on my mindset, things that seemed impossible were possible. Or even if it is hard at the moment, I had courage and boldness to still pursue and do my best. So helping moms just start working on their mind, and then work all the way towards achievement of the plans that they have. All right. So I'm a Christian-based mom mindset and life mentor. I'm an encourager, and I'm the founder and lead mentor at Audacious Mentoring Services, and also the Audacious Mom School, which is an online school. And I'll tell you a little bit about that later. And I'm also an author, and my book is called Wired Weird, which, like I have said, my whole work is about helping people embrace what's unique about them. And so this is a book just to help you understand that you are not created by mistake or using the wrong plan. Your blueprint for your life is exactly the way God intended for it. And so one of the words that you're going to hear me talk a lot about is God orchestrated, which means He's been there, He's still here, and He will always be there. In your life, there's nothing that happens by mistake. God has made sure that everything you're doing is happening exactly the way He designed it, all right? So nothing happens by mistake. And so I can't wait for you to read more about that. So I love living out my calling. I know that I am called to do different work, and I'll tell you a little bit about the work that I have been called to do just now. So I love living out my calling, and if I could pause there for a little bit and just tell you my calling, because like I said, I'll be stopping a little bit, telling you about my story, so that you understand why I'm so passionate about the work that I'm doing. If I say I love living out my calling, what's the foundation for that statement? So this is where the foundation is. So let me tell you a little bit, for those who've never heard me give this story. I know those in a private Facebook group have heard me give a little bit of this story, but the way I have put it for presenting, for for today is a little different, but I hope it will still be helpful for you to understand where I'm coming from. So if I'm to give my work journey, because the work that I do is linked to the work I started doing. So I began as an intern in the United Nations, in the UN, and I was attached to the clinic. So inside the UN complex, there is a clinic which serves the staff in most of the UN bodies that are there, because there's UNDP, there's WFP, there's UNICEF. So all those are served, was at least the time I was there, was served by the clinic. And so it was kind of a HR based, people-based department. And so we used to, I used to work under a lady who was called Grace Joroge. And Grace Joroge was an elderly lady. She seemed to me, I was 18 years old, but she had such wisdom. And one thing that Grace did that changed my life is at 18 years old, I'd just been born again, I think 4 years at the time. I'd been born again 4 years at the time. And this was in 1995. And she gave me a video cassette. The to young people, mothers may not understand that, but the VCRs, it's a video recording in those big, I wish I brought one, but she gave me that, and it was by Miles Monroe, and it was, I think, almost 2 hours talking about purpose in the kingdom of God, your purpose in the kingdom of God. And so at 18 years old, when usually kids start forming their identity, my identity was stuck on kingdom work and knowing the purpose. Kingdom work, knowing the purpose. Everything I'm doing because of the kingdom, I'm doing because of extending the kingdom of God. And I can do that through my calling, through my purpose. And you hear me use a lot the word calling. I know people interchange it with purpose. So whichever one, most registers in your mind, that's okay. And so I worked there as an intern, and I watched it. I made my family watch it because it stood out so much for me. And from 18 years old, I've always been about your purpose for the glory of God, for extending God's kingdom. What work has you been sent here to do for extending God's kingdom at 18 years old? That's where this whole journey to today began. And that's why I love my calling. And I went I was an intern before I went into campus. So I joined campus the same year towards the end. And when we were in campus, and I met friends who we are still friends with today, and we had one thing in common. At that time, there was a lot of talk about women's rights, a lot, and we bonded over that because we wanted, our moms had really pushed us to do more than they did, and they always put that in our ear. And so I met friends who also want more for themselves, who also want bigger and better for themselves. And so we really bonded over that. And some things happened in campus that really made the brand that I am today. One of them was I entered a human resource class because in my campus, we used to do like touch everything, there were prerequisites, taste everything, so that by the time you're choosing what we call your minor, you're very clear that it's because I liked it. When I attended a class and I heard what that particular subject is about, excuse me, I loved it. So for me, when I entered a human resource class, I was like, this is the work I'm going to do. This explains, because remember, I was an intern in a department that dealt with people. It was under their human resource department. So I kind of had a practical look at the real work that entered. I didn't have a name. Human resource was not a big name then. And so when I entered that class, and the way the teacher taught, I was like, my job will be in human resource management, and I stuck with us. And as you learn later, I actually got to work in human resource when I was employed. And so that's one thing that happened. The second thing that happened that was critical to the work I do now is then we started engaging in women empowerment with my friends. We were even part of a club that was advocating for girls in campuses, and for us to think, we used to be called the Women in Development subcommittee, and we used to bring in people to talk about girls and the things that affect us. I remember one of the biggest seminars that we created at the time with my friends was on date rape, because that was new. in Kenyan campuses at the time. And so we got people to come and talk about day trip. And so women empowerment was so big. We used to go to the streets of Nairobi and fight for women empowerment. We used to be part of the coalition on violence against women. We then designed with my friends the winning t-shirt when we were in campus. So women empowerment, learning about kingdom work, learning about purpose was part of my foundation. And that's exactly what I do. I deal with people. I worked in human resource. So I think I'm called to deal with people. My whole work has been around people. I'm called to empowerment. And that's how it began in campus. I'm called to help people identify their calling. It started when I was 18 years old. So all these things are interlinked. And as I told you at the beginning, I'll talk about how God orchestrates everything in our lives. So it's not a mistake that I'm doing the work I'm doing. God has been setting me up for that work. And the book that I've written even goes further from when I was young, how everything is ordered, the exact same way God wants it to be ordered. And so after campus, I was looking for work. And at that time, people were kind, HR department people were kind, I don't know about now. And they used to send regrets. And I had a big file of regret letters, which is okay, because at least they give me feedback. And so I told my mom, you guys have always wanted to start a school. I did business administration, management minor in campus. And so I said, I have all this knowledge, I'm eager to use it. Can I help you establish the business that you already want to have when you're retired? And so they were right, they were ready. They already had been doing their research. They had a whole file that set me up really quickly. I had in class, I had also, because I did management, and when you do management, you learn all types of management. We did cross-cultural management, which was linked to international management. I did human resource management, strategic management. So all these things tied up into helping me just have a broad way of dealing with business and also dealing with people. And so it was so easy for me to help them begin to write the mission of the school, the vision of the school, the core values of the school, and do that. And so 2 years in, after opening the school, and it was going well, I was just feeling, because I'm not being paid, I have all this energy. Now that things are set, I can start looking for a job. And just at the moment when I was just feeling I need to do more, the UN clinic called again and said they've changed their system and they don't want to do training, because if I was already working with the old system, I understand the process. And that's how I got back to the UN. And when I was going there, I was also doing my master's. So I went again as an intern because I was a student in campus. And this time I met another boss. This boss she'll forever be in my memory. She's called Lucy Joroge, and she was fantastic. Now, I thought I was empowered as a woman, with all the things we were doing in campus. Lucy was empowering, and she gave me insights into marriage, being a mother. And while I really feared, even at the time, I knew for me, I had made up my mind. I didn't ask God for permission, but I knew I really want to serve God, because at 18, remember, I learned about God and I learned about doing his work. And so I had said deep in my heart that I do not want to get married and I do not want to have children. I just want to be in God's work all the days of my life. That's what I had said. So now here is a lady. She was a widow at the time, and she was telling me stories on marriage. She was telling me stories on raising children, and she really encouraged me. She told me, Wairimo, don't let any man tell you to stay home and not work. If he's not providing fully for you, you need to be empowered financially. Now that's the part that I was not keen on before, but here is a lady who just helped me see why, because she was building a house and we chose tiles with her. She bought a new car and we ordered it through the internet at the time. And so I started learning all these things about things that women can do, big things that women can do for real, because I had a front row seat into her life. And she used to just tell me, Wairimo, don't agree to be stunted in your growth. And so personal growth also started being pushed there. Before I knew it had a name. So what am I saying? I'm saying that God has orchestrated everything that's happening in your life is not happening by mistake. everything has a purpose. Everything has a God stamp on it. So don't miss the stamp because you're disgruntled. Don't miss the stamp because you're feeling stuck. There's something he's trying to get you to do. So if you do not listen to him, then you're not going to do the step. You're not going to take that bold, courageous step that you need to take. So when I finished, while I was at the UN clinic, our campus at the time had said, if anybody is looking for a job, bring your CVs to the placement office. So I took my CV to the placement office, and especially because I had seen a job asking for somebody with a master's in strategic management, which I was just finishing at the time. And so I put my job in for that. I put my CV in for that job. But you know what? They took my CV to a different company. So when I was being called for an interview, I didn't know what job I'm being called for. I didn't know because I didn't apply. Remember, the CVs were being sent to companies from the placement office. So I went for my job and I got that job. And that job was in human resource management as a human resource officer at International Committee of the Red Cross Logistics Center. And I worked there for almost 4 years. But here's the thing, how God orchestrates things. I wanted another job, but God pushed my CV to another job, the job of my dreams, which I didn't even know was there. And I am a firm believer that you're not where you are. You're where you are, not by mistake, but because of a God-designed action. So the question for you is, are you going to look at it that way, or are you going to complain? If God is making sure that the events in your life right now are such that they are pushing you to do the next thing, do it. Instead of staying there where he doesn't want you to stay, and then you complain, move, okay? So I got the job, and of course I had to stop my internship now because this was a paying job. And I remember when I was given my first offer, I didn't even complain. I was just excited because remember, I started the school, I wasn't being paid. I worked as an intern, I wasn't being paid, and here's a job, whatever they gave me, which was, I mean, even in by today's standard, it was a really good starting salary. Yeah, and that's what happened. But 4 years in, I just felt again God's nudging to go back to the school and just set their foundations right, because now I had been working, I knew how work is done, and I took a lot of the systems from both the clinic and from my employment into full-time. I was getting married at the time, and I just knew that I want to have a flexible time and just freedom to dream, to design, and that's what I did. And so I went back to the school full-time, and that's where I was now. Another point I'm going to teach you, even as I'm teaching you about my own calling, and this is a big point for you, is when you step up and live out your calling, and another person steps up and lives out their calling, it's attached. Sometimes when you step out in your calling, somebody else has the freedom to do the same, and you'll notice that your callings are linked. All right. So my calling as a school owner was linked to my mother's calling to be a school owner. And because I didn't have a job, I stepped up and told my mom, can I help you with this? And now she got her dream was actualized because of stepping up. My boss stepped up and got a new job at UNDP Somalia, our head of HR in ICRC. And while she was there, she had a need, and she needed somebody who gets how she works and who can do the work that she needed done. And so she gave me, we were talking, and she said, I have this thing, do you want to come? And I was like, oh, of course, of course I'll come. And I worked in UNDP Somalia, was my last employment. I started at the UN and I ended in the UN. I worked with 5 ladies and I finished with 5 ladies. Only God. I've always worked for lady managers. I've always seen empowered women lead. And so when I'm talking to mothers about stepping up and living out your calling, I saw it, I experienced it, I did it myself. So you have no reason why you're not doing, because God wants to use your odd, he wants to use your different, he wants to use your unique. And then, yeah, so I after UNDP, I went full-time into now the school. My head was there. God confirmed that that's where you're supposed to be, until I asked a question. that God needed to answer. And I'll tell you what that question is even as we go along. Remember, if you're in, please say hi to me. I would really love to acknowledge that you have come, would really love to acknowledge that you have come and joined me in this conversation. Yeah, so that I don't hang in alone. And my desire would be for you to start investigating your own story and to see that there's nothing that happens by mistake. God has orchestrated every part of your story. Like I said, I'm looking at my phone just so that I acknowledge anyone who has come in, because I think that's extremely important. All right. Yeah, so all my work, human resource, working with people, empowerment of women, all God combined. And so the work that I do brings all those things that God set me up for. Yeah, so let me share my screen again so that I may continue and tell you a little bit more about when I say I love my work, I love my calling, what exactly I mean. All right. Yeah. We are on. Good. All right. Fantastic. So I said I work with mothers, and there's a way I describe the mothers that I work with. First, I say that the mothers that I work with are mothers who are life-savvy, future-focused moms. Why? Because right now they're finding a way to still grow, whether they have means or not. Even where they are trying their best to survive, to thrive. They are doing their best. They are life-savvy. They're future focused, which means they know what they are capable of. They know what they desire in their life for their families, for themselves. And so they are working towards something. And that something is what I call a future that they desire. So the moms that I work with, I describe them as life savvy, future focused moms. And one of these days, I'm going to tell you where this came from, as the Lord would have it. So I don't call them to their face, life savvy, future focused moms, how are you? No. I call them the bold, audacious moms, or the bomb tribe. We are the bomb tribe, and so I'll try to describe to you what a bold, audacious mom is, so that if this is you, please be calling yourself the bomb. Yeah, isn't it? The bold, audacious moms. So my bold, audacious moms, number one, they are courageous. Like I said, learning to own your odd, learning to own your weird, learning to own your uniqueness and your difference. Such a gift you give yourself. So they are courageous. They stay committed. Whatever they have said they're going to pursue, they're going to do, they're going to design and pursue, they do it. They stay committed. If this is you, you're a bold, audacious mom. Yeah. There's something that I was inspired one day. You know, when we were growing up, our dads, the men in our lives, used to be called breadwinners, right? Of course, now either mothers, fathers, as long as you have the energy within you to work, you work, and they're called bread. So I call the life savvy, future focused moms bread bringers, because they bring the bread as well. They don't need to win bread, they bring it into the house to share with the family. So if you are a bread bringer or desire to be a bread bringer, then you are a bold, audacious mom. A unique thing is they're family oriented, which means family is so critical. And so even as I talk about my calling, I say that I'm called to work with mothers who are prioritizing their personal growth so that they build, want to build personal and business brands, bankable personal and business brands, so that they design a life they desire and that God approves without compromising faith or family. That's who I'm serving. And so family is so important to all my clients. And I have had moms breastfeed during class time. We have had babies being born during class, not during class, but like in sessions. Like a mom says, it's my time is due, and they stop class and they come back with their babies. We have had babies sitting on their mother's laps when we are doing class, because family first. And as long as the moms learn, it doesn't matter whether their children are there or not. There's no excuse why a mom is not learning, and children is definitely not one of those. We have had moms learn as they are cooking, as long as they answer whatever questions I am asking. And most important, they are fully dependent on God. And one of the questions that I'm asked is, does somebody have to be born again to come to my programs? And I say no. As long as you are okay to know that I'll mention God a lot and you learn why, because it's one of the big pillars for me in my business. So fully dependent on God. So if this is you, you are definitely a bold, audacious mom. So bold, audacious moms, number one, like I said, prioritize their personal growth. Very, very important, which means they know they can do more. They are capable of more. They're capable of having more. They are capable of being more. That whatever they desire, that when they place at the foot of Christ, that they can be able together, they can be able to have it. So moms who prioritize their personal growth, I work with moms who want to build bankable, which means you'll be paid because of your personal brand, you'll be paid because of your business, the work that you're doing. So if you're a mom who wants to build a bankable brand, personal or business or both, you are extremely welcome. You are my kind of mom. And then also moms who want to then, now that they are earning from their brand, they then can be able to live that life that they desire and that God approves. Because for me, God approval, very important. As I've told you about my story from when I was 18 years old, it's so important to have God in your life and to have him approve the decisions and the choices that you're making. The one thing my clients never have to worry about is compromising their faith or compromising their family life. Sometimes we have to end session if there's a family emergency, or not have class if there's a baby who is sick. And that accommodation can only work where then it is a priority for me that a mom doesn't have to feel that between personal growth or learning, they have to compromise their family. We don't do that. So this is my 3 pillars of my business. This is my business model. Number one, anchored in God. I explained about my faith journey and how important it was. I was grounded so early as a teenager on God. And so even when I was discussing with my coach about how to package my story and how to package my choices of services, I just was telling him I'm struggling because I don't know anything apart from God. And so he told me, if that's you, Irimo, go ahead, do it. As long as you do it, as long as you help people and explain, this is why this is important for my brand. So being anchored in God, number one. And then majority of my work is in pillar 2, which is embark on a personal growth journey. All my clients are embarking on a personal growth journey, whether they know it or not. Even you, any small action that you make to improve yourself intentionally, you are already on a personal growth journey. The only thing is you've not had a Wairimo to confirm it for you. In fact, a lot of the mothers who come, I just tell them, you're confirming whether you're in the right way or actually starting on the right path. So it's okay if you know you are on a personal growth journey and daily investing in it. Just don't remain stagnant, all right? And I'll tell you a little bit about pillar 2. And of course, if you're anchored in God, if you are on a personal growth journey, for sure you'll be in that place where you'll be impacting people, influencing people. And if you want your brand to be bankable, whether it's business or personal, you'll earn an income from it. And not just once, a sustainable and reliable income through impact. Those are the 3 pillars of my business. And like I said on Monday, I just want to explain this so that anybody who's been wondering what the Audacity Mentor stands for and exactly how I carry out my courses, that's how. So my courses are within pillar 2 and pillar 3, all right? So a lot of the work that I do are within personal growth journey. And for those who grow high, and you'll see the phases of personal growth, the ones who want to then build their business a little better, have systems, have structures, then we do a course that's for that. The one thing that is continuous is anchoring in God. That one, all my courses have a Bible-based principles. Now you can see they are small double-sided arrows. And this is the reason that even if you're embarking on a personal growth journey, you still need to be anchored in God. Even if you're growing your income and your impact, you still need to be anchored in God. If you're embarking on a personal growth journey and you get an income, you still need to continue growing. You don't say, nimefika, yeah? You still keep growing. So those are the 3. Now you can see inside here, number 1, 2, and 3. I can't go deeper into that right now, but there's work that you have to do towards the anchoring side and work that you have to do towards the personal growth journey side, and also for all the others. So a lot of the work is in those 3 areas where all these things converge. And in the middle is that life-savvy, future-focused mom who is finally living the life that she desires and that God approves. And she didn't do that by compromising her faith or family. So if this is you, you want to continuously know God, love God, and for him to show up in everything that you're doing, whether you're born again or not. For me, God is important to have in your life. And yes, there are people who have got born again because they have come for my programs, because they have seen how God has been present in their lives. And what do you give God after noticing how he has been present and how he's made sure that everything in your life has made sense to this moment? You give yourself, isn't it? You give yourself over to him. So what is personal growth? Because I talk about personal growth all the time. So this is my definition of personal growth. Personal growth is an intentional, which means you are saying, I want to grow, I want to upskill, I want to up level. It's a personal decision, an intentional and incremental, which means that you're coming from one step to another one. Sometimes you fly, sometimes you jump, but as long as it's incremental, you're not regressing, you're not going backwards, you're going forward in tiny tiptoe steps, in big steps, massive steps, jumps, leaps, as long as you are moving forward. So it's an intentional, incremental, inside out. All good personal growth begins on the inside and shows out on the outside, whether it is mindset, as you transform your thoughts, the way you're going to speak, the actions, it's going to show. When you are, the decisions that you're going to make, when you know who you are, when you know whose you are, the way you're going to behave, it's an inside out journey. So an intentional, incremental, inside out journey towards a transformational and life of fulfillment. So if living that, because you're designing a life, why are you designing that life? So that then you live in impacting people, your family, the memories that you create for your children is because you pushed yourself, you stretched yourself a little more. You're living a life of fulfillment according to what you desire. Of course, fulfillment is relative. I know there's true fulfillment, and then there's fulfillment based on your hard work and based on the choices that you make. So when I'm conducting my programs fall into these 3 phases. You're either getting started on your personal growth, you're either growing in personal growth or soaring. All right. So all my courses are either getting started programs, growing programs, or soaring programs. So when you first have a conversation, because I never engage a lady or a mother if we have not spoken, so that I know where it is they are in their personal growth journey. For those who have never been intentional about it, then definitely get started. There are mothers who have already been doing something about it. So you're probably in the growing, or you want to get started and just, grow continuously. So I don't know where you are, and I hope you can put in the comments even as you come in, so that I can be able to acknowledge, where do you feel you're falling? Do you feel when it comes to your personal growth journey, you're at getting started? Do you feel you're at growing, like I've been doing something about it and I've been seeing results? Or are you at soaring, where the foundations for personal growth are set and now you just are doing more and helping other people? So depending on where you are, just let me know. Just say, I'm at getting started, I'm at growing, or I'm at soaring. Would be nice to know. Now, another word that I use often is the odd factor. What are you bringing to the table? The mothers who I work with first, I always give them a test in a worksheet. And all we are trying to find out is, what are you bringing to the table? This work that God wants you to do for him, what do you already have? What are you bringing? People assume they have nothing. Just because you didn't go to school, I see a lot of moms struggling, like so-and-so, you think you have nothing to bring on the table, or you have a lot to bring on the table. When we were doing HR and we are conducting interviews, you see, we already know the work that needs to be done. And we have these people who need to present themselves and say, to be able to do that job and achieve the results you're looking for, this is what I have done in my life. These are the credentials that I'm bringing to the table. And so if a person's personality, a person's excitement, a person's qualifications, experience matches the job, then it was always a good fit, and somebody is able to be given their job. So what about you in the work that God has already qualified you for? Do you even know what your odd factor is. So what is the definition of odd factor? Again, my definition, your odd factor is the unique combination of your abilities, your capabilities, your presence, your personality, your perspective. Remember, I worked with these women. I worked with Mrs. Joroge, who gave me a different perspective towards work. When she gave me that VCR about purpose from Miles Monroe, she gave me a different perspective that has helped me throughout my life from when I was 18 years old. And experiences, what have you gone through? Both hurtful and happy experiences, all those, that's what you're bringing to the table. And that's what God is using. When you're saying, here I am, use me, it's because you're bringing your odd factor. You're telling God, here there are things I can do easily. Here are the capabilities, the skills, the talents, the education that I have. Here it is, my presence. How do people feel when you're around them? There's a presence that you have, whether you know it or not. You're bringing that, your personality, the perspective, again, the experiences, and all these, the odd factor that you bring to the table, you need to surrender it. It is not useful if you do not surrender it. Even in jobs, when you say, here is my CV, I can do this job, you're surrendering your skill. So even when you're going towards pursuing your calling, you're surrendering. And those are the things that qualify you for your calling. And so I know now you can start thinking, what are my abilities? What are my capabilities? When I'm around, what things do people ask me about? And I have a challenge that I usually do called the Unlock Your Odd Factor Challenge, where I just take you through a worksheet so that you're able to just find out, if nothing else, what am I bringing to the table? And then God will work out the rest. So please say hello as you're coming in. I want to acknowledge you. Why is personal growth important? Now that I am here doing this work of personal growth, why is it important? Why is being able to discover my odd factor? Why is it important that I need to know, am I getting started? Am I growing? Or, am I soaring? Why is personal growth important? And now in 2021, even with the pandemic, why is personal growth important? This is how you know that personal growth, you are ready for personal growth, and why it is important. Personal growth, first of all, is a lifelong process. You never stop learning. You're always learning new things, being given new perspectives, having new experiences, bringing all that. Yeah. So you're ready for personal growth if you want to discover your why. Yeah. So part of why personal growth is important, it answers that question. It gives you meaning for your everyday life. Yeah, like, why am I here? Like, why is you wake up in the morning, my heart is still beating, I'm here. What does God want me to do today? Who does he want me to bless through advice, through my work, through words of encouragement? So the personal growth helps you then have meaning for your life. It helps you find out what your calling is, what your why is. And like I said before, for some people, instead of calling, they use purpose. So what your purpose is. It helps you adopt growth mindsets, habits, attitudes, behaviors, perspectives, and actions that help you grow. So your personal growth ready when you're already looking to think differently, when you want to change your habits because you want them to set you up for some growth that you have. You want to change your attitude. Maybe you've been so negative about your job, so negative about your marriage, so negative about yourself, and changing the way you think about yourself, the way you see yourself, and choosing, I'm going to show up happy, I'm going to show up with a positive attitude. All that is personal growth. And you're ready when you're desiring those changes in your life. Maybe you're experiencing a sense of unease, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling like you're stagnating in life, you're feeling you're made for more, but you don't know what more is. Then your personal growth ready, because personal growth helps you get unstuck. It helps you find ease in everything you're doing. Not easy, but you're able to do it with ease because you know why you're doing it. It helps you stop stagnating and you move incrementally, even if you're tiptoeing, even if you're taking a leap, as long as you're moving forward. Helps you become the woman you're capable of becoming. One day when you stand before God and he says, this is how I created you, these are the things, will you say, I thank God I did them all? Or will you say, oh no? Yeah. So when you're embarking on a personal growth journey, it helps you know the woman, and it's incremental. You keep discovering yourself. Just when you think umefika and you are sure who you are, God just unleashes a new skill, a new up-leveling, a new usefulness for you. You see, when you're on a personal growth journey, you're also able to pinpoint obstacles limiting your growth, because you get to be asked questions by a coach or a mentor. Let's examine where you are going, where you got stuck. My coach used to always tell us, if you lose your keys, what do you do first? You pause. Yeah, you pause and try and recollect and go back to the place where you knew you had them last, and then you start moving forward. So that's what, if you're personal growth ready, if you're just feeling there's just something that's blocking my growth, I can't identify. If you want to pinpoint your growth, then you're personal growth ready. You want to find fulfillment and satisfaction in your life. And I don't say it equals to money, because people define fulfillment and differently. And for me, it's just Paul said, I know what it means to have plenty, and I know what it means to lack, but in all things he was content. And that's what for me fulfillment is living in that place regardless of circumstances, that you're feeling fulfilled, that you're where you're supposed to be, doing what you're supposed to do. And lastly, is that you love learning and improving. Like you're constantly looking for what's the next course to do, what's the next masterclass to listen to, what's the next lecture to listen to. Like you're in love with learning. If that's you, then you're constantly personal growth ready. And that's why personal growth is important. It helps you know your why, it helps you shift your mindset, helps you have better habits that set you up for that life that you desire. It helps you unstuck and feel ease in everything you're doing. It helps you become the woman you're capable of becoming, helps you pinpoint any obstacles that are limiting your growth, helps you find fulfillment and satisfaction, and it helps you be able to continue learning and improving. Now, there's one more hint. And when I was giving my story at the beginning, I said there's one question that I asked God after I had come back now full time to the school, and towards my 40, I asked God one question. And this question shifted everything for me. And that's why I'm here. The Audacity Mentor is as a result of asking God this one question. If you're asking yourself this question, you are so personal growth ready. You need to get in touch with me. I asked God, is this it for me? Is running the business, is this it? Like I went through college, I went through work experience for here. Is this it for me? And if you're asking yourself that question, you need to link up with me so that we can answer it together. And once I answered this question, my life has never been the same. But here's the thing, I said, God has been orchestrating my path, and is orchestrating your path, so that the day you ask yourself this question, he will now show you, I've been preparing you for this moment in time. So if you're asking yourself this question, there's something God wants to do in your life, but you have to let him. And if you've not been able to answer this question, means you need help. And that's where coaches like me are able to come in and tell you, this is where you're stuck. This is the obstacle. This is the thing that God has been preparing for you all your life for. So if you've been asking yourself this question, you are personal growth ready. And the mothers who are in my programs, those ones who are prioritizing personal growth, because they ask themselves this question. So if this question is already in your head, you are ready, you need to link up with me so that we ask. And the answer to that question is you need to spark your brand. And so this is the umbrella for all my programs. I say, come spark your brand. I call it SYB. And the ladies who I have been training know this. All my programs start with SYB and then the name of the program, because there's light that God has put in your heart. There's purpose, there's calling, there's an assignment that only you can do. I used to call it the ark assignment. What's your ark assignment? Because every time you think of Noah, you think of the ark. So when people think of you, what do they think about? For me, God has confirmed it's mentoring mothers, but that's not where it started. I thought I'll be a parenting coach. That's what I was training for, because I worked in a school, I worked with parents. So I thought what's obvious is to help parents to do a course on parenting, but God clarified why. When you're on a personal growth journey, the obstacles are all removed. Where you're feeling stuck, God makes it unstuck, and then you're able to now proceed. So this is the journey that I take my clients through. I start with the big picture, because all of us are stuck because we have a big picture. If you're stuck, it's because you kind of everything is in your head right now. Everything, like, you know where you're going, you know how the end might look like, but you're being distracted by everything else. Look at that picture. It's like a map. Like, you can see buildings, you can see these are the roads, but it's confusing and big. And that's why we get stuck, because we can't fine tune how the building looks like right now. What is the name of the road right now? And so what coaches do is then they take you to that place where you can answer the question, where are you now? Because before you move to where you're going, where are you now? What do you need to prepare now so that you're able to be set up to reach where you're going well? So all my programs are in this category, fall in this path of the customer. We deal with the big picture. We deal with the current positioning. We deal with the desired life positioning. And that's how I call them. I call them life positioning. And then we come up with a gap filler plan, the one that fills the gap between the current life positioning and the desired life positioning. And then we execute that plan. You get your results, and then you start again. Because when you get your results, remember, you're becoming, you're always evolving. So when you reach the place where that seems hard right now, that place where the Bible says, as with Christ, all things are possible. When you reach that place of possible, then there'll be something else that seems impossible. Again, you start with the big picture. And so we are constantly in that way. And that's why what coaches and mentors do, they're always taking you to that place of results, that place of win, but it's broken down into smaller ways. And so I want to tell you which courses now are within that path. So my first one, which I have put a link in this conversation, is the Life Redesign Masterclass Starter Kit. And this is now, it just brings your big picture narrower, because I ask you some questions and you have to write those questions, answers to those questions. And when you answer those questions, you'll start knowing, oh, this is why I'm stuck. You'll start seeing your life differently. You have the big picture of your life, because when you have the big picture, it's easy to go to a coach now or a mentor and say, when I examined my life, because that's what we are making you to do. When I examined my life, this is what I found, that this is going right, but this place needs some work. And that's why now we move to the next place. I always say, when you know when you say fulfillment, what do you mean? How does fulfillment look like to you? So I have a new course that's coming up. It's currently in coaching we call beta, still in the testing phase. And if you'd like to be part of the testing phase, let me know. Just say, I would like to be part of the testing phase of finding fulfillment. I would love that. Thank you for the loves. Finding fulfillment. So if you want to be part of that testing, please let me know. I want to be part of the testing of finding fulfillment. Next year, it will now go online, just like the Life Redesign Masterclass, so that moms and for those who are not there earlier, I talked about my mom and I said her dream was to start a school. I did not have a job. She had a plan. So my qualifications helped her dream be actualized. And so what I said is, sometimes when you step up into your calling or step up into that purpose that you are called to fulfill, then it's linked to maybe somebody else's, all right? So for me, finding fulfillment is about finding out, so what does fulfillment look like to me? And so again, we go through this set of questions. Now, a lot of moms, because I'll tell you what my flagship course used to jump to that course. And I just felt the journey is not moving smoothly. And so that's how these 3 courses came about, to just help a mom transition into personal growth. These are my getting started courses. Start with the starter kit, which gives you the big picture. Then you'll do finding fulfillment and life redesign, which I'm already doing with some clients. And so by the time you reach the getting started, you have a plan. You know, these ones are easy to do. I'll continue doing what's working, but these ones I'm still stuck. And that's where I plug into the growing courses, and I'll tell you about them. So if you haven't gotten my masterclass, please, I've put the link below that you can be able, you can be able to go that. So go to www.theaudacitymentor.com and you'll see a link. When you go there, you'll see my picture and a link. And once you go to the link, look for the Life Redesign Starter Kit Masterclass. It's a 40 minutes for moms. I made it for moms, so I know we can't sit for 2 hours listening like the way I'm doing today. I'm just telling you about the Audacity. I don't do too long, but I hope you can go there. I hope you can learn. I hope it will open your mind so that you're able to then make decisions about your next step, because I'm all about making those bold, courageous steps. Keep up leveling, refuse to stay stagnant. All right. So my flagship course is called Discover Your Voice and Calling. This is what I've done for 7 years. It is the course that has kept me in business. It is the course that has kept me going with hundreds of moms, getting to know what God designed them to be. And for those who weren't there when I was talking earlier, I said when I was 18 years old, my boss at the time put a video tape recorder in my hands on Purpose by Miles Monroe, and my life changed from there. And so the same passion I feel and the same urgency I feel for us to live out our calling is what I help moms with. It's just a short 6-week program. But now what I'll be encouraging moms to do is do the other getting started courses, so that by the time you're coming here, it's because you do not know your calling. Because there are moms who know their calling. If you do not know, start. This is a good course to have. I would love, I'm doing my last season for the year soon, and so in November, and I would love for you to join. So the other one is, I realized that even as I'm growing a business, even with all these papers on business, I had a very poor money mindset. And when I worked on my mindset, my business also changed. And so I said, I'll also help other mothers who have good ideas, who desire to impact people, but they have a poor money mindset. When I was growing up, we used to be told that the rich people are devil worshippers. And so we believe that. And so you hold yourself back even from improving, from growing financially, because you do not want to be associated with something that you had. So removing all these limiting beliefs and changing the thought process around money and saying what money can do. One of the big transformations for me was when my boss, my coach, sorry, when my coach said, Wairimu, more money means more impact for people. And that hit me differently. Nobody had ever said that part of the reason you're working is so that that money that you're earning can be able to help more people. And like I said, I have always worked with people. I've always wanted to empower people. And so if having more money will mean, or having, an income and more resources will help me impact more people, then I want to keep working and I want to keep doing this. So helping mothers want to change how they view money. And that one is also starting in November. It's just 4 sessions, 30 days, 4 sessions, homework that you do in between, and you start looking at things differently. Mothers who never spoke to their husbands about money started speaking to their husbands about money, because they saw, if I'm knowledgeable and I'm not afraid to talk about money, I'm not afraid to talk about debt, I'm not afraid to talk about this is the money that I'm bringing, these are the projects we can do, then the family grows. A mom who is empowered financially helps her family grow further. And then the last one is create your mentorship brand. And this is one of the soaring courses. And as you see, getting started is cheaper. You invest more because now you're clear about the path that you want to take. So that one is for moms who have found out through Discover Your Voice and Calling that they want to be coaches or mentors. And because I've done this for 7 years, I've many programs, I just thought, let me create a foundational course, because I said earlier, I'm a basics to mastery. If you can have a foundation, if you can have the basics right, going for certification would be so simple for you. And so if you have been feeling an urging to maybe get more solid information, mothers who come from my program live there with that program, and now they're doing their program. So yeah, so those are my programs and the way that I help. Now, I've been using the word calling over and over again, and if you're there, say hello. What is calling? So this is the way I define calling. Your calling is work assigned to you, and this is how it begins. This assignment doesn't just start. God nudges you. It's a God-designed nudging. If you're just feeling disturbed, the way I said, if you're just feeling stuck, if you're just feeling uneasy, don't ignore that uneasiness. If you're asking yourself that big question that I ask myself, is this it for me? Don't ignore that. Those are God-designed nudging. So this is work assigned to you that begins with a God-designed nudging that continuously gives God the glory, is for the good of others, and results in your growth. And so those are the 3 things I would say that a calling does. A calling, your calling, when you execute it, when you live your calling, It gives God glory. It's for the good of other people. And it also helps you grow in the areas that you want to grow, because we don't always all work for money. Some of us work for impact and get the money as a bonus. And there is nothing wrong with saying that you're earning an income from what you love. It is okay. It's God orchestrated. Nothing happens by mistake. And if you're feeling scared, it's because money mindset. So if you would like to enroll in the last season of this year, the season 32, please let me know that you're interested, or DM me, and I'll be able to reach out to you and we'll have that conversation. The one that we find out, are you in getting started? Are you in growing? Are you in soaring? So the way I do this class is I have weekly classes. We do this for 1.5 hours. I have two types. I have a day class for moms who are able to make time during the day. It's on Fridays, 10 to 12. And then I have a night class for mothers who are employed, but still want to know, in case I leave employment or while I am in employment, what more can I do? Remember, personal growth helps you become the woman you're capable of becoming. And so when you discover your voice and calling, you can do that also in a night class that starts at 8:20 to 10:20 on Thursdays. So if this is you, please let me know. There's no reason. Before, I never used to do night classes, but now when I realized there's a whole, there are many moms who are working who still want to know, and I do them at night and we have fun with our babies and dinners. Yeah. So you get a workbook every week, you get assignments every week. I'm on call for you if you have any questions, you're stuck or you just need to talk. Till today, even my first client 7 years ago, we still talk. They still call me when they have celebrations. They still ask me questions if they're feeling stuck, or they just want me to be a sounding board to what they are thinking. You'll get to discover yourself. You get to discover your voice. You get to discover your purpose. You get to discover the message that God has given you. And you get mostly to discover your calling. So if this is you, you've been feeling that strong nudging, don't ignore it. If you've been asking yourself that question of, is this it for me? You need to reach out to me so that I can help you. So like I said, apart from those particular programs, I have the Unlock Your Odd Factor, which is really just to help you know what you're bringing to the table. All that, the things that I said, the abilities, the capabilities, the perspective, the presence, your personality, all those that you're going to surrender to God for use. This is a nice place to start. And lastly, and most excitingly, now when my moms reach the soaring stage, and there's no other course for them to do, then they come to the mom boardroom, which is really a place where moms who are sharpening the axe come, so that we can be able to do business together, to grow our brands together. If you need to say, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I want to do this week, so that I can get more clients, so that I can impact more people. So we meet every week on Tuesdays and we say what it is we are planning to do. So it's just a place where we keep each other accountable, because when you're at the end of personal growth and there's no other course you can do, then you need accountability for your life plan. Because remember, personal growth is continuous. It's a lifelong process, but who will keep you accountable to your goals? That's what, for us, the mom boardroom is all about. So this is my approach when I'm teaching, and I know I've talked too long, but like I said, today is talking Audacity so that you understand the work that I've been called to do and where you can plug in into my work. So I use a lot of Bible verses. I use a lot of Bible stories. I use client stories who have given me permission, and we use success case studies. So it's not just saying you need to do this, it's showing other people have done this, to show God already has Bible stories. He's shown us it's possible. He's told us it's possible. He's put a promise that you need to claim. He's given an instruction that you need to take. So I use a lot of Bible references as like teaching principles. You know, if you go to YouTube, if you go to Google, even here on Facebook, and you Google big names, the Tony Robbins, the Warren Buffett's, the and all these people, and people read the habits of those people. They read the principle of success to those people. I also choose to add the Bible, because that's our manual for life. And the one who created us has all the principles for us to live and live in a life of fulfillment. So I use that a lot. Like I said, I think I've repeated this a lot. I love how-tos. I love step-by-step approaches when I'm teaching. And this is the reason, again, tied to my story. I was an average student, or so we were labeled. And so what happens when you're an average student? You're kind of left to fend for yourself. The ones who are lower than us are quarreled for pulling down the mean score. For us in the middle, nobody cares for us. They concentrate on the top students, will get them the best scores, will make them popular. And so I learned to learn the detail, because no one is expecting. So you just do the work for yourself. And if I can learn the basics, then I can answer the questions. And that's what teachers never did, even till today, some of them. They don't teach children. What's the basic? What's the foundation for what you're teaching me? Before 1 + 1, teach me with the 0 so that I can replace the 0 with the 1. Yeah. So I use a basics to mastery approach based on my odd factor, yeah, the way I am and the way I love learning. And I'll always use an encouraging tone. I know all coaches, all mentors are different. There are those who are very firm. There are those who are firm and encouraging, which is where I fall into. There are those who, it depends on the way. When I've talked to moms who are looking for coaches, there are some who are like, no, I want you to say it as it is and say it in now, I can't. I love using encouragement, but I'll still be firm if you want me to keep you accountable for that. So what I'm talking about, because I've said I've been doing this for 7 years, I've said I've been taking mothers through that customer journey where we start with the big picture and then we go with the current positioning, the desired positioning, the gap filler. They do the work, they execute it, and they get results, and we start all over again. Does it work? So allow me right now to just show you some testimonials from some of my clients so that you see it actually works. These are moms just like you who have made a decision to take that bold step. And this is Miriam. Miriam has done Discover Your Voice and Calling. She's done my money mindset course. She's done SYB, like I told you, SYB, Spark Your Brand. She's done Spark Your Brand Accelerate, Spark Your Brand Focus Momentum, Spark Your Brand Ascend, which is what we were doing before Corona struck. And this is what Miriam says. When I met Werimo, I had a small baby and nothing seemed to be progressing. I was trying a joint business venture that had so much promise, but for some reason wasn't coming to fruition. So a good friend said, there's this lady who has a HR background and gives sound advice, just go talk to her. It was refreshing to talk to Werimo, as I felt I was being listened to and not judged. We talked, and as we were winding up, she gave me a piece of paper, call it the passion test. I joined her program and we would meet once a week. I tell you, the Thursday couldn't come fast enough. We talked about all spheres, spiritual, physical, financial, family. It was wholesome. Because of going through her class, and my major takeaway was to drop the savior mentality, or what a load it was, to get clarity on what I was passionate about. I was able to get platforms to showcase my budding business, and I met wonderful moms too. Wairimo's courses have a Bible session, God directed. I didn't know there are so many women in the Bible who had such great influence. After working with her, I got my Dear Dear, a job. So Dear Dear, Dear is a mantra that we have for the bold, audacious moms. It's do it afraid, do it authentic, do it anyway. So usually when moms have a win, they say, I deared, and this is what I got. Okay, so after working with her, I got my Dear Dear, a job that allows me to work at home and watch over my kids and still earn a living, aiming at achieving the lessons learned in Mom and Money. Ever thankful, our paths crossed. If you're a mother, you just prioritize family. You want to stay home, but you still want to earn an income. It's possible. So this is Miriam's story. If you resonated with that, if you feel you're a Miriam, then reach out and we can find a way to plug you in. This is what Miley said. And Miley did Discover Your Voice and Calling. She did the money mindset. She did SYB, Spark Your Brand Accelerate, Spark Your Brand Focus Momentum. And this is what Miley said. It made me revalue myself. It made me realize I have potential to be who I want to be by following my dreams, by just not being afraid. Made me leave my comfort zone and just do it, just follow my passion. Through that, I have made people's homes glam. So Miley is an interior designer, and when I met Miley, she had she still has her shop where she designs beautiful things to make. I would show you my house because I'm her client. And she desired to make homes beautiful, to make homes havens of people, but she had never stitched, even though she had a machine. by the end of these programs, she was teaching herself. Now she's a master designer and goes to people's houses and makes their houses glam. Why? Because she made a bold, courageous move. So if this is you, you need to reevaluate yourself. You need to realize your potential. Then the Audacity Mentor programs does that. This is Shiro. Shiro has done Discover Your Voice and Calling. She's done Money Mindset Makeover. She's done the Spices Goal Setting Challenge, which is for goal setting. And she is part of the Mom Boardroom. And this is what Shiro says, that it helped me believe what's possible for others and to encourage them pursue their dreams. I have also been able to see possibilities as I see what others have been able to achieve. I'm also more deliberate about making connections with others whose work or dreams connect with mine. My everyday has meaning, purpose, and a schedule because I now have a vision that I'm passionate about. Then she says, P.S. I used to hate to-do lists because Shiro is actually my accountability partner. And the whole year, we keep each other accountable. Every Monday, we send, this is what I want to achieve. And as part of the boardroom, we still continue to do that with each other. This is what I want to do for my business. And we push each other. Mothers, it's possible. You want income. You want to see other people happy through your work, through your influence. Imagine it's possible. Don't just sit and wonder if you're made for more. You are made for more. This is Eve. Or Evelyn, and Eva has done Discover Your Voice and Calling. She's part of the Mom Boardroom, and she's now in November joining the Mom Mindset Makeover course. And this is what she says: I see the change in my attitude and the confidence I've gained because of discovering my calling, and it has inspired my friends and family. The greatest discovery for me was that I'm the way I am by God's design. Having lived all my teenage life and part of my adulthood looking for what's wrong with me, going through the program has given me the confidence in who I am and who I'm becoming. Ladies, you can be who you're capable of becoming. There's more in you than you know possible, but it can only happen if it's triggered and you have to push yourself. You have to stretch yourself. You need a guide to do that. And that's what we do at the Audacity Mentor. This is one of my star clients, Fatma. Fatma has, I think, done any course that I have ever come up with. She's done Discover Your Voice and Calling. She's done SYB Accelerate, SYB Focus Momentum, SYB Ascend. She's done the Money Mindset Makeover. She's done Create Your Mentorship Brand. She's actually now, she runs a business, but now she's starting coaching as well through her skills. And now she's part of the Mom Boardroom as well. This is what Fatma says: God has equipped me with skills and talents to impact people over and above that. She's a nurturer. I have developed a program on recreating your story, which is intended to heal our childhood wounds and alter false beliefs adapted from our early experiences about who we are, what is holding us back, who we are, what's holding us captive, and align ourselves with God's intention. Again, where did this come from? As she was discovering, because we look at your story and we say, what's your odd factor? What are you bringing to the table? And how can your story make sense? Because God did not make a mistake. Your life is orchestrated the way God has said. And so being able to align yourself with all this. This is Juliana. And you notice I'm bringing you people who've done many courses and people who've done a few courses. Juliana did Discover Your Voice and Calling. And she says, Werimo is a wonderful mentor. She listens to her mentees' aspirations and gives them ideas on how to achieve them. Her teaching style is efficient. The notes she provides are well prepared. She explains really well, and she also includes discussions. The home assignments are efficient, thought-provoking, and fun to do. So again, it's not just about me, it's also about you. Actually, when you're a coach or a mentor, the mentee does most of the work. The assignments, the thought, making you think and reflect. We call them reflective exercises, making you decide, how can I redesign that part of my life so that it suits the life that I desire, the one I've placed before God, the one I want that is aligned to his will. So being able to do that is so important. And so a lot of the questions that we do are linked with that. This is Wangari. She was one of my first clients. And one of the things Wangari wanted to do is she wanted to make people's parties and people's functions using color. That if I'm allowed to just use color for people, I can be able to do that. And for Wangari, she actually actualized that dream. And she was among the people who were making Facebook flowery with children's parties, because children's parties, what do they have? color. And so that's the thing. When you discover who you are, the things that you bring to the table, your odd factor, I'm telling you, everything is possible with God. So this is what Wangari says. This is awesome. Please continue unlocking potential. You have a wonderful gift that needs to be shared. So many ladies need you. Keep reaching out. And so what I can just say is just don't do it alone if you can't do it alone. If there's help, take the help. Why? Because I'm eager and excited to do it for you. So even as I'm coming to the end, I know I've taken a lot of time, but like I said today, I just wanted you to get to know me and the work that I'm doing. So I want to tell you about the big 5. On Monday, I said that I have a 3-prong approach, or the 3-pillar approach. And that 3-pillar approach is meant to give some certain results. And I said I have the big 5. And these are the big 5 is really the results. Like I hope every mother who gets into contact with me and enters my personal growth customer journey, that at the end of interacting with me and doing what they need to do, they get these 5 results or transformations. So the first one is that they're able to apply the first and second commandments, greatest commandments, the ones Jesus said. He said, the greatest commandment, the first and greatest commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And the second greatest commandment is love your neighbor as yourself. And so applying the greatest commandment means always be anchored in God, always have God first. And then number 2, yourself. Because if you do not love yourself, you cannot love your neighbor. If you do not love yourself, you cannot give memories to your children that they would otherwise have from an empowered mother. What is you holding back? How is it detrimental to the people around you, the clients you're meant to serve, your family? How is you holding back, not able to make you show love to your neighbor, whoever your neighbor can be, your spouse, your neighbor can be your children, your neighbor is everybody else. Yeah. So applying the first and second commandments is one of the mom wins, the big 5. Number 2 is that all the moms who come from my programs get to pursue a God-approved life's direction. Why? They've investigated their story, they've done all the hard work through the questions that trigger their thought, and they are clear, this is where God wants me to go. Like, I'm convicted, this is the right direction. Whether or not they get it that time, but now they are so clear about where all their plans are taking them to. Number 3 is that they get to own their odd, or what I call their weird, your uniqueness, like you're not ashamed of who you are. You get to know your calling, you own your calling, and you keep pursuing it. And then number 4, they master goal setting and goal getting. So it's not just setting goals at the beginning of the year or at every quarter and then leaving it there. Is that you also master how to get the wins in your goals, how to accomplish the plans that you have set. And number 5, of course, is being financially empowered. And sometimes it doesn't mean money in your hand or in the bank. Sometimes it just means being able to sit at the table with your spouse, for those who are married, or being able to sit with your budget and doing the work that it takes for you to give your life, your children experiences, and to secure your future as God allows, to have security. Because I know a lot of moms stay in their marriages, not because they're feeling insecure, but when you get to know yourself, you get to be more secure. You get to have conversations that you would not otherwise have. So these are the big wins. The reason I do my work is so that all moms get these 5, I call them the big 5 wins through my model, which is being anchored in God, embarking on a personal growth journey, so that you can then have reliable and sustainable income through impact. I hope you're getting to know me a little bit better and to know where it is that you can plug. When you think about the big 5, you have all the big 5. If you don't have, then we need to link up, all right? Now, the question some moms would ask, am I late? You're not late. I know we are going towards December. I know that you're looking at your age as well. It's not too late. I have had moms who have retired. I've had moms who are thinking of retirement. I've had young moms, like teen moms, come to my program. So it doesn't matter, you're not too late. If God has given you that nudging, then it is time. And why do I know it's not too late? Because the Bible says in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, for I know the plans and thoughts that I have for you. I know the plans and thoughts I have for you, says the Lord. Plans for peace and well-being, and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. it's not too late. As long as it's in the will of God, it's in the plan of God, it's in the thought of God for you, then you're not too late. That nudging can come at any time. It has come for young moms, it has come for older moms. And my moms are spread. I've had moms in the UK, I've had moms in the US, moms in Tanzania, our neighbor, in Uganda, in my country, all around, not just Nairobi. Listen, as long as you want to grow, as long as you want to be in that place of income and impact, then I hope that you can trust me with your journey. Now, I don't know whether you've heard me talking too much about God, and if you're not born again, you may wonder, this God stuff is a bit too much. I got born again at 14 years old. I don't know anything but God. When my identity was being formed, it was woven into God so much that, like I said earlier, I never wanted to get married. I never wanted to have children because I just wanted to dedicate my whole life, my whole breath to the work of God. But God had different plans, of course. I'm married now with 3 children, but even that, he had to do a lot of mind transformations, thought transformation, and I am here to help moms. If I wasn't married with children, I wouldn't be here, all orchestrated by God. So even for you, there's a reason why God is nudging you to do some work. Lisa Beber puts this so well, and this is why I do the work of moms. God would never have granted women a voice if he intended for them to remain silent. God knew that Adam and our world would need the voice and influence of women. So don't be seated, don't be stagnant, don't be stuck when there's a solution for you. God would never have granted women a voice if he intended for them to remain silent. God knew that Adam, our world, would need your voice, would need your influence. He knew that. So why don't you say yes to the call of God and surrender your odd factor, surrender everything that you bring, whether you feel it's a little or a lot, bring it to the table of God and he can use you. Again, as I come to a conclusion, this is a nice place to start. The Life Redesign Starter Kit Masterclass. I teach you 3 strategies or 3 phases and 7 steps to design your next personal growth life move. So there's a solution. It's free. It's 40 minutes and you can be able to learn. You can be able to make a step. Lastly, now that moms are growing, as you've heard all those testimonials, moms are growing. And the question is, what is the change at home, right? And like I said, you cannot shift the way you're thinking. You cannot shift the way you're loving yourself. You cannot shift your perspective and people not to notice a change. I said personal growth is an inside out experience. And on the outside, people will notice what has been happening on the inside. And so this is one of my clients' husband who said this. I thank God for you. I must say that I'm an indirect beneficiary of your programs. Since my wife started the classes, she has been having focused momentum towards her vision. May God grant you sufficient grace and wisdom to impact other moms' lives. Hashtag empower my mom wife boss. And when there's a testimony from somebody outside my circle of the bold, audacious moms who confirms my calling, I have to keep working. What about you? Who needs to feel your impact, even if they have not been in your class, just because you stepped up and said, here I am, use me. And so I'll end by saying you need to take a bold step, that bold, courageous step. And that means by daring, even if you're afraid, by doing it afraid, by doing it authentic, by doing it anyway. Dare now, be courageous, exhibit bravery, and choose the dear route, the do it afraid route, do it authentic route, do it anyway route. Even if you're scared, there's a community of mothers that can hold your hand and keep you accountable. My promise is, as we work together, that I'll guide you, I'll stretch you, I'll grow in confidence, I'll embrace your story, I'll discover God's calling on your life. I'll help you discover God's calling on your life. I'll help and guide you, clarify what you desire, and encourage you to take the reasonable, bold move towards a God-approved, fulfilled life. This is my promise to you as a coach. and as a mentor. And if you are ready, I want you to write ready. I want you to reach out to me. I want us to do this, even if it's before Christmas. It's time. It's time. It's time. Let's do this. It's time. And it has been my pleasure to take you through understanding what the Audacity Mentor does, talking Audacity. We've taken long, but now you're so clear about who I am, why I do the work that I do, and where it is that you can plug in into my work. Thank you so much for keeping me company. I hope that you can trust me with your journey to discovering your calling, so that the impact and influence that you are designed to have, that you actually have it. And I tell my ladies in my program, so that one day when you stand before God, you'll hear these words, well done. And that's all. Thank you so much for keeping me company. Let's work together. Bye.